Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Social Selling Mastery. My name is Ron Diapolonia. I head the knowledge transfer office here at Sales for Life, and I've been asked to put this session for you together today. I took a look at a few of the folks that have registered. So some people a little bit more advanced than others. Not to worry, we're going to play catch up for everyone so we're all on the same page. And what I really want you to do, what I really want to get across to you today is how adding some of the social strategies and tactics to your sales team, or if you're an individual sales rep, to your sales process can really make a massive difference. Now, I'm not kind of speaking out just out of turn here. I started in sales in 1990. And for those of you who don't remember back that far, there was no internet, there were no cell phones, and sales worked a little bit differently. It was still human to human, right? We were still engaging with other people in very, very similar ways. But I definitely saw through the years as I moved up in position and I went to senior sales, and then I became finally, sales manager or GM for Canada in the financial sector. And I was managing and training a team under me. As those decades went by, I realized that things were changing. Where we got leads from was different. We were paying more. It was harder to get them. When we were calling people and trying to engage them, it was different. It was a lot harder. We were working a lot harder to get the same results. Trying to find decision makers who at one point used to be one or two people would make a decision, now all of a sudden was five, six, or seven, depending on the company we were targeting. And so we started to implement social, but I really didn't understand social till I came into this atmosphere here at Sales for Life. It's a whole different world here. It's sort of the leading edge lab for really testing things social. And so what I'm going to show you today is the stuff that really works. And where do I get off saying stuff that works? Well, I'll tell you in a second. The three things that I really want you to get out of today, and I'm going to teach you more than three things, but these are three things I want you to pay careful attention to, is why sales teams are finding it more difficult to fill pipeline and achieve quota, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Secondly, pay attention for when I get to the point about learning which prospects have the highest odds of engaging with you and becoming your client, at least getting to proposal stage much quicker than another prospect, because opportunities are not created equal. It took me a couple decades to learn that, but I finally learned it, and I'm going to show you really some neat ways to identify which are the ones you should be engaging quickly and soon. And finally, over this process, I'm going to show you three common mistakes made by sales professionals across industries, small, medium, and large companies across the globe. Now, how do we know? Well, wait till you see who some of our clients are. Now, there's quite a few people out there that are, professing social media, and they're teaching this and they're teaching that. Between you and me, it's a whole lot of nonsense, some truth and a whole lot of nonsense. And again, hold me to account on the next slide. By our count, there's over 8,000 social media features, applications, tricks, and tactics, and about 650 of those apply to sales. Now, some organizations apply a couple of them, it works. Some they apply some, they see no results. What's the difference? The difference is they're all noise. There are 18 of these that are essential to your success in sales. If you manage a team, your team must be proficient with these 18. Now, I'm speaking very, very boldly, but we have a right to. So Sales for Life, this little rinky-dink company out of Toronto, has customers like this. In fact, we have 300 customers like this, just like the ones you're seeing, and we achieved those in only 3 years, which means we took a company like Juniper Networks. We decided to target them. We reached out to them in a very specific way. We got through to the decision maker. We made the proposal and we won the business. And we did that over and over and over. Large companies, small companies, and medium-sized companies. We definitely know what works, and we eat our own dog food. That's kind of one of the lines we say here. I think it sounds a little nicer if we say we take our own medicine. We practice what we preach. So what I'm going to show you today is not things that we philosophize about, or we read a book or a post and we're going to tell you about it. That's nonsense. We're going to show you exactly what we do to win these accounts so that you can replicate it and do the same thing. And hopefully you'll want to partner with us and we can actually train you or your team and really take it up a notch. Now, another thing I want you to remember is working with these teams gives us a very, very unique advantage. In fact, I've trained almost all of these. I think there's like 3 on this slide here that I've not trained. One of the things that as I'm training, the North American team, or I'm training the APAC team, or I'm training the European team, I notice that no matter what the company is, or where we are on the globe, or what industry that they're after, everyone's having the same problems and everyone's making the same mistakes. And by the way, some of these companies actually kick back some results to us. So we've got case studies on our website. If you'd like to see the results that these companies have shared with us, take a look. And you'll be very amazed at the kind of pipeline and revenue that we're helping them drive in a very short period, just in some cases within 9 weeks, and in other cases within 3 months. Okay, so let's get to the good stuff. So everyone gets on the same page. Why does social selling matter? Well, one of the things that changed since I started in 1990 is this darn little thing called the internet, where people do all sorts of research. Anything from searching who's got the best pizza deal to how to buy a car. And believe it or not, when they go to the office in companies like Juniper or Rockwell or any other company, they actually research before they engage a salesperson as well. You see, a salesperson is someone who has an agenda. If I talk to you about your business, I know that your sales team is going to tell me all the wonderful things about your company and your product or your service and how you can help me. But I don't trust them. I'll trust them if I've identified your company as one that I want to deal with. So the journey begins much, much earlier. And let me just show you a few more stats here. Oops, 74% of the buyers choosing sales rep that was first to bring value and insight. 95% choose a vendor that provided me with content to navigate each stage of the buying process. This all sounds good, doesn't it? Corporate Visions, Demand Gen, Forrester, they're reputable companies, but I'll tell you, when I first came on, I thought, there's no way someone at Intel is doing this. There is no way somebody at Juniper is doing this. Well, let's take a look at some of our clients, and here's Intel. We did win that account, and let me show you what happened. We were actually tracing the entire process when they visited our website, when they read our posts. We actually tracked it. So I want you to notice here that there's quite a bit of content being consumed, quite a bit of learning that's happening before they're willing to take our call. Okay, so before they're willing to engage on the telephone, they're actually consuming, in this case, it looks like 5 pieces of content. There's 2 in the last one here. 5 pieces of content to find out, well, what's social selling all about? How can it help me? What are the different ways to do that? And I imagine that they also did that to some of our competitors. Now, they have a call with us. In that call, they've scheduled another call with other decision makers, and you'd think that that would be it, but not so. Notice that there's another 3, 4, 5 pieces of content that are consumed in between those 2 calls. So the learning continues. They're still shaping their opinion of whether they're going to do social or not, whether they want to learn our tactics, whether they want to do business with us, who the salesperson is. Is it a thought leader? Now, I want you to notice over here, we have a discovery call, right? We've got the discovery call happening. From there, they say, wow, we'd like you to talk to somebody more senior. Then there's another overview. And by the way, in the overview, they ask for a proposal. And you notice over here on the 27th of May, we actually submitted a proposal. Now you'd think, well, that's over, right? They're just going to either say yes or no. They're going to sign it. Not so. Notice the amount of research they're still continuing to do on us, and no doubt online, about social, about us, about can we help them. The journey actually never stopped, and until we finally got the client's signature at the end of the day. So here's my question. If their customers are doing it to us, for sure they're doing it with you. They're doing it with your business. They're out there researching, trying to make the best decision. Are you out there? Are you there shaping decisions, or are you just sharing content? Because there's a difference, right? You can just share advertising. You can share posts that say how great you are. Or are you shaping their buying journey? Are you shaping the questions that they ask that then will lead them to your company? It's a very, very important question. And actually, one of the most common mistakes that we see across the board, no matter what industry or country you're from, small, medium, or large company, salespeople are lacking a personal brand and they're not sharing insights. They're sharing content, but they're not sharing insights that develop themselves as a brand leader, as a thought leader, as someone that you should at least listen to and meet and engage with, whether you do business with us or not. Now, I'm going to share with you a secret. One of the ways we got a lot of those clients is we have a very high engagement. One of the superstars on our team, his name is Dan, and he uses a very prescriptive process that I'm going to show you very, very shortly here. And when we give him 10 accounts, on average, again, depending on the month, he'll get in anywhere from 62 to 71% penetration, meaning he will have a meaningful conversation and presentation between 62 and 71% of those 10 people. Now, what we hear in the market from clients and other people is, wow, people don't respond to cold calls. We can't get through. We can't get to the decision maker. It's because the way you're doing it is not matched with today's environment. And part of the secret is really lacking a personal brand. If you have that brand, people will want to hear your insights and they will welcome engaging with you. Okay, it doesn't mean they're going to call you. You still have to call them, but getting through to the people you want to get through to becomes significantly easier. Now let's move our way to number 2, a buying committee. We know today, even in small companies, unless it's a company of one, you don't have one decision maker. You have an influencer. Usually it's someone who's using your product or service. One of them will like you, one of them might not. And then they've got a boss, and the boss is the economic influencer. So the economic influencer is the one that says, yes, this is the project we're going to actually do or not do, and we have the budget for it. But the final sign off comes with an economic decision maker. Now, the bigger the company you go after, the more layers we have. The smaller the company, the fewer layers. But if you're dealing with a company that has one layer, they're probably not going to give you a whole lot of business. They probably can't afford to do business with you. So one of the things that we have to do before we even start is utilize some social tactics and strategies to figure out this org chart, to figure out who's the influencer, who's the economic influencer, and who's the decision maker. But here's the key. Here's the important part. Which ones will actually engage with me back? In other words, I can reach out to all of them, but some of them are a waste of time. Some of them don't like me. Some of them just don't return calls. Some of them are not active on social. I have to map the communication of that buying strategy so I know I'm going to put all of my effort on Don Cash. And I'm going to push with Don Cash because that's the way into the company. I'll show you what to do once we get in. But first, I want you to realize that most salespeople are missing this step and they end up doing a whole lot of effort, a lot of calls and emails to the wrong people. Sometimes the people that don't call you back, it's not that they don't call you back because they're not interested. You're just getting to the wrong people and they're saying, that's not my job. They just don't bother telling you. So the second common mistake, and I'm going to put this 2A because there's a 2B, is not properly identifying the decision maker and thereby focusing on the wrong people. It appears that it's the right person, but it really isn't. So what's number B or letter B? Well, here's some research that came out 2 years ago. It's a company called Implicit, and Implicit was purchased by a company called Salesforce. I think you may have heard of Salesforce. And what they did was they researched the database of hundreds of companies across the world. They wanted to find, is there anything that's the same of all these companies share, whether you're small, medium, enterprise, whether you're in Canada, the United States, or Europe, and regardless of what industry you are. And they actually did find a trend. And here's the trend they found. It actually matters where the lead came from, where the lead originated from. And they trace that all the way to proposal won versus proposal lost, meaning whether I won the business or not. Now look over on the left-hand side here where you see 7.6% events. Here's what that means. It means if the lead generated from an event, if it started at an event, and that lead actually made it all the way to proposal stage, only 7.6 of those proposals were won. only 7.6% of those became your clients as a general average across the world and regardless of company size or industry. Now it goes up 5 or 6%, but this was always the worst one. It's very interesting, right? Because if we don't know this statistic, if we don't base our sales process on research like this, we could actually spend all our time chasing event leads when really we should be thinking about how do I generate leads on the other end of the spectrum. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, I've got employee and customer referrals, which is really an introduction. If I can leverage introductions and I can grow my network of people that I know and I can utilize them just to introduce me to people, and those people end up in proposal stage, 68.7% of those proposals close as a general average across the world. Now, if you had to build a cadence, you had to build a strategy for your business, would you like me to fill your lead base with events, or would you like me to fill your lead base with introductions? Well, the answer is obvious. So why don't we start training teams to actually work toward that? Now, we did our own little research last month, and we found that in our case, we call it an advocate search. So it's a very specific type of introduction. 78% of those proposals actually close. So we can't wait to call an advocate search. We can't wait to get our hands on those. And I'm going to show you exactly what that is just in a couple slides. Now, interestingly, the next lead that performed very well at proposal stage was leads that came from Facebook, Twitter, and other social. If they made a proposal, 68.6% of those became your clients. Now, it's interesting to note, it's not Facebook and Twitter paid advertising. That's actually up here at 29.7%. So paid search does pretty well, but not as well as if you're finding people on social, you're engaging them with interesting content and insights, and then bringing that conversation along and wrapping them up maybe on the phone or in a presentation or something else, getting that conversation from online to offline. So in our program, what we try to do is really focus on these two. And I know some of you are looking at other and they say, what's other? The research doesn't tell you. It's bundling everything else together that they didn't know where to put it and they stuck it in other. Okay, so we can't really do anything with that. But these two, we can develop an entire sales process that works on those. And that's how we got all our big accounts, working at that end of the spectrum instead of the left side of the spectrum. So here's some of the ways that we can leverage introductions. An advocate opportunity is a client that you already have. Now, within your client base, people move on, right? They move on, they get other jobs at other companies. Sometimes it's promotion. They go from assistant buyer to the buyer. And they already know you. They know your product. They know your service. You may even be already connected to them. But they get another job and they move on to another company. That is fantastic because when I pick up the phone and I call that advocate, which in our case closes 78% of the time, we already have that relationship. They already know our product or service. They know our company. They know everything about us. They're even accustomed to using the product. So when we get to that stage, we can't wait to mechanize a process that just tells us every single time that these opportunities pop up. Now, another one is called the new leader opportunity. Did you guys know that you can actually optimize this process on LinkedIn to tell you when somebody changes jobs? Now, why is that important? Well, LinkedIn tells us when somebody changes jobs, they're the most likely to take your call and talk about new ways of solving problems or taking advantage of opportunities. So I can call both people, right? I can call the person who's ingrained in their job for 10 years and they know everything, they know how to do it, and I can try to get through there, or I can focus first on the folks that have changed jobs. By the way, these number into the thousands. Your sales team will probably not have enough time to do anything but these folks, depending on the industry that you're going after. And so by always dealing with this low-lying fruit, you're having more conversations in the market because you're finding people that are more open to at least hearing some ideas and seeing if that belongs in their new company that they've joined. And it kind of makes sense, right? Think of it from your own perspective. When you join a company, start a new job, and they say, what are you going to do? Most people don't say same as the last person. They really want to show how they're going to make a difference and do the job better. And in that, they're willing to consider everything. In that opening, there's a chance for us to jump in and have a conversation. Okay, we actually target these types of searches as well. Finally, connections. Well, how many connections do you have that are a little bit lower in the totem pole, but they can introduce you to an economic decision maker or an economic influencer? A lot of people really joined connections on LinkedIn willy-nilly, and they say, I don't know most of them and they can't really do anything for me. Okay, that's fine. Let's move forward with a very progressive strategy that says, well, what do I want my network to do for me? And let's start building that network. In 3 months, your network can look a lot different than it does now, and it can start leveraging these types of relationships and openings that end up having a 68% close rate when you get to proposal stage. So let's be very, very deliberate in building our networking. In 1990, this was not a new idea. People were telling me, you need to build your network, my friend. We just didn't have a LinkedIn because there was no internet. So what we would do is we would go to golf clubs and we would go to health clubs and take up squash and racquetball, trying to meet people and network with them there. And it took a tremendous amount of time. Now LinkedIn had just put that all online and it's super easy, but people still blow it. They still connect with people and then never do anything about it, or they connect with people that are irrelevant. Let's take a more progressive approach. Let's stop and think about what we want it to be, and then let's develop a network that can leverage and grow revenue. Now, this is a strategy that I call the checkmate strategy. We created this and it works exceptionally well with all of our enterprise clients. What they tell us is once our folks get in, they don't go deep and wide into an account. What that means is they know this one little person in orange here, and if that person leaves, we're in trouble. Well, we want them to sell our product to economic decision makers. We want them to go to other departments. Well, part of growing your network and the part of using introductions as a strategy is also utilizing that to meet people in other departments and to go across the organization and up the organization so that you can really increase your tentacles in that organization, drive more revenue from existing clients, and protect yourself from from competitors who are trying to poach. Okay. So all of these strategies are utilized by our clients, which is why they're getting the results that they get, and we use them too. But before they come to us, it is one of the most common mistakes that the sales team makes, which is not properly developing the relationships, not having a strategy for who you want to connect with, and then how to leverage those relationships. You sort of have to reverse engineer this process if you want your team to have a meaningful connection or meaningful network 6 months from now. And then this is the big one, triggers, speed to conversations. I would say this is probably the reason why we have that 62 to 71% penetration into our accounts that we target. We start off by having a digital intelligence brief. We want to sound different than everyone else that calls them and says, oh, we're the best. We work with this person. Here's the type of problems we fix. Let me show you how we can help you. Everybody says that. Everybody says that. And some of their salespeople are better than ours, right? So what we want to do is we want to lead with something considerably different. We're thought leaders. So we very quickly gather some very, very vital information. Now, we quickly do it because we have technology work in our favor. And by the way, most of the stuff I'm showing you so far is absolutely free, okay? Everything here I'm showing you is free. So we will look at things like 10K reports, Gartner reports, G2 crowds. We're going to get the key insights, strengths, cautions, risk factors of the company. We're going to look at industry trends and who their competitors are. We're going to look to see if any of their competitors were once our clients. Do we have any case studies? We're going to put all of this together for a client before we reach out, or a prospect rather, before we reach out. And it looks something like this. Now, this is really, really key to winning these big accounts. And actually, by the way, even small accounts, we then use this to work down the vertical to win that account. Because when we reach out with information like this, we are telling them things about their business and their industry that they didn't know. And they're willing to engage just to get more insights. And now we're having meaningful conversations that lead to sales discussions that lead to proposals. Okay? They want to know that you can really, really help them. By the way, not using triggers to accelerate engagement is one of the common mistakes that cost salespeople. They're not being relevant. We don't just use the tools that I showed you. We also use LinkedIn and we use Twitter to follow people. We use Google Alerts to see if there's anything being mentioned about them in the news. And it's all fed to us. Technology feeds us all of this info. And then we just have to look at it and say, yeah, that's relevant. Let me reach out to so-and-so and mention that, hey, I noticed your CEO said this, or I noticed that your VP finance said that, and I think I can help you. And these conversations are leading to higher engagement and penetration into accounts. So what is social selling mastery? I mean, how are we going to learn this? Well, I can show you how we teach the enterprise clients and how we really get them across the finish line, which is really, really key. So we have a 9-week virtual instructor-led session, and it's very important that we do this over 9 weeks because it's a tremendous amount of stuff to learn, and we want you to master one concept, one strategy before you move on to the next, okay? And by the way, don't be afraid of $3,000. If your sales team can't make $3,000 by the end of the 9-week, you should fire them. Okay, this is nothing. This is chump change that they should be able to close 10, 20, 30 deals of this magnitude once we show them what all of these enterprise clients are doing to get an advantage over their competitors. And again, this is the program that we use, the exact strategies that we use to win 300 engagements like this, and that these clients use to win their engagements. We basically teach over the 9 weeks trigger selling, insight selling, and referral selling, but in small bite-sized chunks. And then we help you by coaching you to ensure that your team gets it before they move on. It's very, very critical that they understand before they move on and not just treat it like, math class in grade 9 where it's good enough. I'll worry about it when the exam comes. You should be closing deals by the time we get to week 9. In fact, the assignment from week 8 is they have to generate one net new opportunity that basically started at the beginning of the program. So the way we do that is we have a welcome in getting started. We kind of tell them a little bit about social and a little bit more about the environment so they can really understand what it is that we're trying to evolve to. We then start building their brand. Remember at the beginning when I said most people do not have their own brand. They don't have they're not seen as thought leaders. We start building that right away. And then we get into finding prospects and finding that low-lying fruit that I was talking to you about, the title searches, the advocate searches. We really go deep into those and show you all of the ways that we mechanize to funnel that low-lying fruit to us on a daily basis. Then we start getting into the social surround, the week 4, socially listening and building that intelligence brief. And that leads us to week 5, where we use that intelligence brief to put it together and say, but how do I report this? How do I say it in an email? How do I say it on a phone? How do I say it by video? How do I use this information to break in? And then we're going to show them how to curate content, how to find content and share it on a daily basis with just 30 minutes a day. They're going to be doing all of this, by the way, to further their brand, further your company's brand out in the market as well as their own, and really capture the social mind share that's out there and keep at the forefront. So when people like Juniper, or in our case, it was Intel that I showed you, are actually going through the process and they're looking for information, your information is the one that they're finding, okay? And then we start looking at purposefully developing their network. Your network is probably not optimized to generate prospects, leads, and conversations. Let's change that immediately. Let's start building a program, start developing networks that are actually meaningful that we can leverage to drive revenue, okay? And then finally, we show them how to do that in a total routine in 30 minutes a day. And then we've got a certification exam that they can put up on LinkedIn and they become certified social sellers. But the only way they can do that is if they have passed the assignment in week number 8 and generate at least one net new opportunity while they're going through the program. Now, at each step of the way here, we have assignments. And the assignments are, well, we taught you how to build your brand, build your brand. We taught you how to find advocates, find the advocates. Go ahead and find some. We told you how to socially surround and get competitive intelligence on people. Go ahead and find competitive intelligence on the prospects that you're going after. So it's really getting them to apply what they've learned at work so they can start moving the ball forward, generating leads, generating prospects, starting to see which opportunities are better, and actually engaging those opportunities in conversation. Okay. And so the process begins each week with an instructor-led training. It's live and it's online. They can ask all the questions they want, and we really show them how it works. And we record this session. So if they're ever sick, if they're ever on vacation, or they had a client meeting, no worries. They can always come back and they don't miss anything. And they then go to methodology and tactic videos, which we have available to them. It's about another 15 minutes, but it just shows them how to do certain things on LinkedIn and Twitter and Feedly and Google Alerts, just over a couple of minutes, how to really get that through and do it efficiently. We then have an exercise, which is we'd like you to apply what you learned at work. Find a prospect, engage the prospect, get intelligence on the prospect. Let's build our network. Let's actually do it while the instructor is here, because what's available to you every single day are open office hours from someone like myself for personal coaching. So as you're going through the program and you're applying it, we don't want this to be theory. We want you to practice it. We want you to get good at it. And we know that sometimes that requires coaching. The coaching office hours are almost every single day, no Saturday, Sunday, no holidays. But other than that, it's every Monday to Friday, and you can jump in online and you can say, here's what I'm having problems with. I'm trying to engage this guy and he's not engaging back, or I'm trying to find this woman and she's not really very social. What can I do? And we work through everything that we learned together and we penetrate the account. You've got somebody who works for a company that penetrated 300 of those accounts that I showed you working with your team. It's absolutely critical that they utilize this to really fast track the success that they have. And then the next week, it starts all over. So really, by putting an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes a week, you're giving that team a tremendous advantage and showing them what a lot of the enterprise clients are learning is very, very effective. If you go on our site, you'll see all sorts of testimonials. We don't make them up. You'll see their photo, their name. You'll see the company they're from, ADP, Thomson Reuters, NetApp, and you can actually look them up on LinkedIn and see that these are real. These are real people, real testimonials. And you can read for yourself how they're saying, yeah, we thought we knew everything, and this gave us a massive lift right away. Now, our program, we are launching this program that we offered to enterprise. We're launching it now. It's a new program that we're testing out to offer the exact same program to small and medium-sized businesses. Now, if you're an SMB, we have a launch offer, and you basically get a little bit more than half off. So rather than $3,000, it's $1,497 per team member, and you get access to everything I just showed you, not only the instruction and the videos and the open office hours and the certification. Absolutely everything's exactly the same, but you get it for 1 year. So you get access to all of that for an entire year for your team. And really within 9 weeks, you should see a result. Within 3 months, there's no question your pipeline and your revenue should look significantly different than it does today. And we've got tons of case studies to prove it. Just go on our website and you'll see all the case studies that you can possibly want. Now, one of the things that we really drive into is the text-based best practices. We find that a lot of our customers are asking us, my emails and my emails, they don't have a lot of lift. When I send, they don't get a response. Again, you're not evolving to the new market. What you say and how you say it is very, very important to get that engagement. So when we get to the engage module and the social surround module, this is where we really start driving it home to your team. This is how you structure an email. This is how you structure an email. This is the information that's critical. This is the stuff that you look at. This is when you respond to an email with an outbound call. And we develop an entire cadence, okay? And it's really script messaging of all the information that we get. This is all neat information, but what do I do with it? We really want to crystallize the value proposition. We want to storyboard this with you so that your team understands, if I say these things, 62 to 71% of the people want to talk to me. And now I've got more discussions in the market. It's really that simple. It's what we figured out. And you can see from our accounts, it works. We're breaking in, and you can check out the case studies and see other companies saying it works. Now, the other thing that I want you to alert you to is we also go over a cadence, a diversified engagement process. We don't just use the phone. We use the phone, we use email, we use LinkedIn messages, we use Twitter, we'll use content sharing one to many, we'll use content sharing one to one. We'll use video messaging. We really mix it up because we can do 9, 10, 11, 12 engagements that way, 12 attempts or outreaches without bothering the prospect, without getting them angry. And so by changing the message and changing the methodology, we're able to stay in the game until we get penetration, which for us, the magic number is 9. Okay, for your industry, it might be higher, might be a little bit lower, but what's key to keep your team going is somewhere around number 3. They've called 3 times and they don't get a call back. They start to get head trash. Head trash is that little voice that says, now you're just bothering the person at the other end of the line. Give them a couple weeks before you call, or stop calling for now. We'll try again later. And it's those 2 little voices that keep you from engaging an account and breaking in. What you want to do is say, no, 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 I want to do 9, 10, 11 engagements, outreach attempts, but I want to do it in a way where it doesn't bother the other person. They'll actually find it valuable and engaging, and one of those is going to work and spark a conversation. So we go over that in the Engage module as well. And we go over the best practices. So really what we're going to do is a 9-week instructor-led training session, same as we do for enterprise. It's 1 hour a week. You've got access to that for a year. You've got unlimited access to our online live coaches to help you through the process. And even when you're done after 9 weeks, you've got the online coaches for an entire year. You've got a VIP ticket to a social selling event that we have throughout the year in various locations around Canada and the United States. And so you can come in, you can meet Jamie, you can meet me. If that gives you a thrill, awesome. If not, you're probably coming to see what we found next. We're always pushing the limit in the Sales for Life lab. And when we find new things, we come to these events and we say, let me show you what we just found out. And you can always stay on top of the best and the brightest ideas. You can come to that event free of charge. You have unlimited access to all of our learning portals. So the tactic videos, the strategies, how to do things on LinkedIn and Twitter. There's over 50 videos all in, and we're going to give your team, we're going to take your team through those in 9 weeks, but we're going to make it available for an entire year in case they want to review it or go through it at their own pace or whatever reason, just to raise the bar and get a little bit better. We have weekly practicums and final certification just to ensure that everybody knows you are social selling certified. You know what you're doing. You can put that on your LinkedIn. It's a little badge of honor. And finally, we do have a special Ask the Expert session with Jamie Shanks, the CEO, pretty much the guy who invented all of this curriculum that we're showing you, and head of the Sales for Life Thought Lab. He's pushing the envelope. He's going to give you and your team a special Ask the Expert session where you can go on and talk to him about anything you want, growing your business, improving sales, whatever it is. You can hear it right from the horse's mouth. And by the way, he also wrote a new book, Social Selling Mastery. It's going like hotcakes. It's doing a fantastic job. A lot of companies purchasing these books from all over the world. We're going to throw in a signed copy of the book as well in this offer, just so you've got absolutely everything that you need to succeed. Okay. So how do you reserve your spot? Well, there's really 2 ways. The first one is, here's the link for you, and I'm going to put that in the chat box for you. If you are watching the recording, you'll just have to type that in. If you are live here, I just put the link in the chat box. It will take you to this page, and you can just reserve now. You can take the next class in May. There's one in June. It's pretty much every month. This offer runs out in April, but you can take the class anytime this year. It doesn't have to be in April or May. You can take it anytime you want and this year, but we do look to register as our launch offer. Okay. Now, if you are managing a team, You might have a couple questions. You can either click here, I have some questions before I buy, or if you want to speak to me specifically, I am the lead trainer here. I put a lot of the curriculum and content together as well. And if you're saying, well, our business is a little bit different, I'm wondering if you can contextualize this specifically for my business, and you really want to move forward, but you've got some very, very specific questions for me, you can reach me through Miriam. And here's her email, miriam@salesforlife.com. And I will, whoops, sorry guys. And I will also put that in the chat box for you guys. And maybe you've got something very specific. You want to talk about your team. You want to talk about your industry, your sector, something where you just want to be 100% sure that we're going to give you the lift. We also have other research. If that's you and you want to speak to me specifically, just shoot Miriam a note. Let her know that you were on this call and that you would like to go to the next step and just get a little bit more information. And again, if you would just like to sign up, there's the link right there. You can sign up right now individually or your team, or you can ask questions through there as well. Do we have any questions at all, folks, on anything that we've covered so far? Because this brings us really to the end of our session. And so I will let you enjoy the rest of the day and have a great weekend, but I will answer any questions if you have them. Okay, don't see any questions. Thanks everyone for joining me. Hope you got something out of this. If you have any questions, maybe I'll chat with you. Maybe I'll see you in the program. Have a great day and a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.